I bragged I could win over the hardest-to-get campus heartthrob. I didn't expect he'd publicly refuse to give me his contact the very next day. Even his friends mocked me, saying a goody two-shoes like me didn't deserve him, and he even warned me, stone-faced, not to show up again. Yet late that night, he stood downstairs by the dorm, drenched and holding a cake. Just crook your finger, and I'll come over. Now he has me pinned against the mirror, our fingers laced. You swore back then you'd never like me, so why are your knees buckling now? I repeated a year and finally got into my crush's university. Only now he's my upperclassman, the campus heartthrob, a real big deal. We ran into each other at a party, and people egged me on to stand before him. I swallowed hard. Jason, could I add you on social? He sipped his drink, aloof, not even sparing me a glance. Not interested. I don't add contacts. Yet later, in front of the mirror, my knees nearly gave out. Be good, just a little longer. Isabel, hurry up! We'll miss the club's welcome mixer. I fussed with the mirror, trying to perfect my bun. Coming, almost done. I only got invited thanks to my roommate. It's the most famous club on campus. They compete in international robotics contests, so they're super strict about who they take. Everyone who gets in is top of the major. I barely scraped into college as it is, so of course I got cut in the first round. But my roommate? She's a badass, blazed through and made the team. Tonight is their welcome party, and she's dragging me along. I was still worrying. It'd be awkward to crash a club event I'm not part of when my roommate squeezed my hand. Relax, I heard Jason's coming. He's the school's undisputed heartthrob. Trust me, you won't be the only non-member here. Plenty of girls show up just for him. Bet a ton of girls will ask Jason for his contact. Just stick with me. I nodded obediently. Okay. She strode ahead, then suddenly did a double take. Wait, Isabel, you're not here for Jason too, are you? I stayed quiet, but my ears went pink. I was absolutely here for Jason. One look at me and she got it. Her eyes flew wide. No way, Isabel. A sweet, rule-following girl like you likes that cocky bad boy. I thought you'd go for the cool, mature type. She sighed. You sure about this? Jason's nothing like that. He's wild. He's also our club's top dog, handsome, talented, and loaded. He's not someone you can snag that easily. He's a handful, okay? She rattled on about how hard he is to pursue, and how countless girls have tried. Even the campus queen struck out. Someone as quiet as me should probably give up early. I curved my eyes and kept my voice soft but firm. Julia, more than anyone, I know how hard he is to win. I've had a crush on Jason for 4 years. 3 years of high school, then a repeat year. I worked my tail off to get into this university because of him. Yep, Jason is my crush. I repeated a year just to scrape into his school. In high school, Jason was the teacher's star pupil, never once dropping from number 1 in the grade. He was bold and unrestrained, the golden boy in everyone's eyes. And me? Gentle to a fault, no edge at all, the exact kind of goody two-shoes he'd look down on. I had to study my heart out just to barely land on the same page of the rankings as him. Like so many girls, I was drawn to his swagger, and couldn't help liking him. But I never dared show it, not even when we were in the same class. Not even when he sat right behind me. The most we ever said was when I passed papers back and he'd mumble thanks. Half sprawled over his desk, lazy drawl. Thanks, class rep. Back then, Jason's eyes always smiled. His look was laid back, harmless. I didn't dare meet his gaze and whispered, "You're welcome." Just as I turned away, Jason reached over and handed me the yogurt on his desk. Long, clean fingers. I froze and didn't take it. Propping his chin in one hand, his dark eyes mirrored my flushed cheeks. He gave a small, slanted smile. Class rep, you're still growing. I've got an extra, help me finish it. Jason always used that line. I took it carefully, fireworks going off inside. It was just a carton of yogurt. I knew that. Just something he couldn't finish and passed along. It didn't mean anything yet. I couldn't stop my smile from creeping up. I knew the gap between us. To me, Jason was the moon in the sky, and even looking up felt like I had to tread carefully. I was the most ordinary of all the girls who liked him. I knew my place. With so many admirers, why would I ever cross his radar? But what could I do? Liking someone grows like weeds, wild and out of control. Teenage me couldn't rein it in, so I made Jason my goal. I've been working to close the distance, step by step. My roommate listened, clutching my hands, eyes shiny with tears. That's so moving, Isabel, so moving. With that kind of grit, you could do anything. I laughed and dabbed her tears. Don't cry. I'll take it as a compliment, okay? She nodded like she'd made up her mind. Trust me, Isabel tonight. I'll swallow my pride if I have to, but I'm getting you two added as friends. At the door of the club party, I gripped the handle and took several deep breaths, too nervous to go in. She gave me a shove. Isabel, don't be scared. Go. I stumbled in and immediately spotted Jason in a private room. My heart skipped a beat. Messy black hair fell over strong brows. A high, straight nose sitting in the corner couldn't hide a face like that. Someone beside him was talking. Jason's mouth tipped at the corner, expression cool and unreadable. Now and then he dipped his head, lazy and languid. Just like my roommate said, plenty of girls' eyes were glued to him. I stared at that unfairly good-looking face, and my lips curled without meaning to. Sure enough, wherever he was, that's where the spotlight went. Then my roommate yanked me forward and boomed to the room. You're all early! I brought my roommate to hang. This is Isabel. My eyes flew wide. Before I could brace myself, she'd introduced me to everyone. Help, I'm super introverted. How am I supposed to handle a scene like this? Panicking, I glanced toward Jason, right as his eyes met mine. Dark and unreadable, like his gaze landed on me and didn't at the same time. In the next beat, he looked away, cold, and went back to chatting with his friends. My heart sank. Did he really not remember me? Well, yeah. Someone as plain as me, of course he wouldn't remember. We only sat front and back for one semester. After that, we picked different tracks and ended up in separate classes. I tugged at my roommate's sleeve, feeling a little deflated. Keep it down, Julia. Keep your voice down. Jason doesn't remember me. Julia glanced at Jason, and to my horror, raised her voice instead. Hey everyone, what do you think? My roommate's cute, right? She's single, totally available. The room burst into laughter and teasing. A few guys even came over with their phones out, cornered. I ended up adding several of them on social. When I turned back, the once nonchalant Jason suddenly had eyes dark as storm clouds, his gaze fixed straight on me. His grip on his glass looked tight enough to shatter it. I blinked, confused. Why did he look pissed? He was terrifying when angry, but I couldn't forget why I came here tonight. Clutching my phone, I stepped up to him. Jason glanced at me, leaning back lazily. Something you need? He asked coolly. Yes, I said, meeting his eyes. I do. Damn, so the freshman's got a thing for our Jason, huh? Someone hollered. My face flushed crimson. I held up my phone and pulled up the QR code, my voice trembling. Jason, we went to the same high school. Could I add you on social? No one had expected me to be that bold. After all, half the girls here wanted his contact. Every eye turned our way. Jason took a sip of his drink, expression detached, not even sparing me a look. Not interested. I don't add people. No one was surprised. Jason hated this kind of attention. But the teasing only grew louder. Ha ha ha, freshman. Our Jason's famous for being impossible to chase. Yeah, Isabel, it's hopeless. You're way too much of a good girl. That's exactly the type he can't stand. Right, everyone knows Jason hates goody two-shoes. When he first joined the university, he was good-looking, talented, generous if he was at a gathering. He'd always pick up the check. To him, paying was nothing. But because of that, tons of girls noticed him. Seniors tried their luck, only to find he was a tough nut to crack. He looked like a playboy but never dated. Someone once asked, Jason, what kind of girls do you like? He lifted his eyes lazily. No idea. The guy pressed on. Then what kind don't you like? Jason paused, a flicker of emotion hidden in his dark eyes. Good girls. And just like that, the whole school knew Jason hated goody two-shoes. Hates good girls? Hearing that, I lowered my head further, my gaze dimming. My fingers twisted the hem of my shirt as I whispered, barely loud enough for him to hear. I can stop being good. Jason froze, looking down at me, emotions swirling in his eyes. After a long beat, a soft fuck slipped from his throat. His black eyes reflected my face. Isabel, do you even know what you're saying? My head snapped up, eyes bright on his. He remembered me. He actually remembered. Jason was tall, standing. He towered over me, my head barely reaching his chest. Maybe he hadn't expected my reaction. Our eyes met, and faced with my obvious excitement, his cold expression faltered as he looked away. I opened my mouth to say I knew exactly what I was saying, but the noise around us suddenly exploded, drowning me out. Jason's brows drew together as he kicked the nearest heckler. What the hell are you cheering for? His voice dripped irritation. The room fell silent. No one dared test Jason's temper. Under everyone's gaze, he grabbed my wrist and led me straight out of the room. I followed, dazed. When I finally came to, I was pinned in a corner. Jason tucked a strand of hair behind my ear and sighed. His tone was rough. What? Cat got your tongue? Why didn't you speak up when they laughed at you? They tease you a little and you just hang your head. What's with the pitiful act? Pitiful act? Why would he say that? He was clearly worried, but still had to sound harsh. My cheeks burned, and I lifted my chin to protest. I wasn't pretending to be pitiful. Jason shoved his hands into his pockets, giving a short laugh. Now you dare talk back to me? Guess you've grown some guts. He arched a brow, leaning closer until his presence swallowed me whole. He caught the back of my head, eyes sharp and proud. Jason, huh? Jason Sr., class rep. Don't you remember? We sat front and back in high school. Since when am I your senior? Of course I remembered. But this Jason scared me a little. I'd never seen him like this. Eyes burning, hostility simmering beneath. I wanted to retreat, but Jason caught my hands, lifting them above my head, our fingers locking. His knee pressed between mine, leaving me nowhere to move. My spine went rigid. I couldn't look away. He gave a low chuckle. What's this? Said you weren't interested? Now you're here to mess with me? Playing hard to get? His fingers brushed my neck, his tone mocking. Isabel, does toying with me make you feel good? My brain short-circuited. Someone, please, explain what the hell was he talking about? Was he dreaming? When did I ever toy with him? How could I even dare? I tried to think, but his dominance left no space to breathe. I bit my lip, too scared to meet his blazing eyes. My heart pounded like it might burst. Fear prickled, and tears began to sting my eyes. When Jason saw, his grip loosened instantly. Regret flashed across his face, and his voice tinged with tension. He probably didn't notice softened. Did I hurt you? He wiped at my tears, muttering, Cry, baby. Still so damn fragile. Sniffling, I mumbled through the lump in my throat. I don't even know what you're talking about. His hand froze mid-motion. His eyes, dark as ink, glimmered with a mix of irritation and disbelief. You don't know what I'm talking about. He straightened, giving a dry laugh. Right. Class rep's got a short memory. Of course you don't. Whatever it is you're after, I don't need to know. Don't bother telling me. His tone cooled, self-mockery lacing his words. Guess I'm the idiot here, asking you anything at all. He shoved a tissue into my hand. Isabel, he said sharply, don't show up in front of me again. Then he stepped past me and walked away. I called after him, confused. Why? Jason paused, fingers curling into his palm. His reply was low, barely above a whisper, but I heard it. "You're an eyesore." It was a warning, yet his gaze looked like it was about to shatter. I stood frozen. Did Jason really hate me? But we'd only shared a class for one semester, barely spoke a few times. How could he hate me already? Or maybe he really just doesn't like good girls. I stood there, upset for a long while. When I finally decided to call a cab back to campus, a car was already waiting at the intersection. The driver stepped out as soon as he saw me and greeted politely. "Miss Isabel." "Hello, I'm young Master Jason's driver. It's hard to get a cab at this hour, so Mr. Jason asked me to take you back to school." My eyes lit up instantly. "Did you just say Jason asked you to take me back? He arranged this?" The driver smiled and nodded. My heavy heart leapt again. So thoughtful, maybe our old classmate bond wasn't gone after all. As soon as I got in, the driver handed me a small cake. Smiling, he explained. "We passed a bakery on the way, and I picked up an extra one for you, Miss Isabel." I accepted it gratefully. Perfect timing. I hadn't eaten anything at the party and was starving. This cake was a lifesaver. The moment I took a bite, my eyes sparkled. The world suddenly felt brighter. It was my favorite flavor, lychee. I looked at the driver like he was some kind of angel. "Sir, you're amazing. This is my favorite flavor. It's fate." The driver's voice wavered slightly as he replied. "Haha, just luck, Miss Isabel. Glad you like it." I happily ate my cake, my mind wandering back to Jason. He said all those cold words, yet still sent his driver to take me home. Seems like he's still the same sharp tongue, soft heart. Even if it was just a bit of kindness toward an old classmate, it meant he didn't completely hate me. I still had a chance. It took me so much effort to get into his university, I wasn't about to give up. The more he told me not to show up, the more I would. But something about his attitude felt off. There had to be a misunderstanding. I had to get close to him first if I wanted to clear it up. I'd heard Jason often skipped lunch when he got busy in the lab. So, at lunchtime, I showed up at the lab door with a lunchbox in hand. The place was bustling, and I hesitated at the doorway, too timid to go in. Just as I was psyching myself up, a shadow fell over me. Isabel. That low, familiar voice startled me so much I almost tripped. A strong hand caught me, a tingle running up my arm. "Stand still." "Oh, okay." I straightened awkwardly, trying to hide the lunchbox behind me. But with Jason's height, he could see it easily. He raised a brow. "What's that?" I carefully brought it forward, my ears burning. I heard you skip lunch when you're busy, so I bought you some." Jason's expression stayed neutral, but he instinctively straightened his half-untucked shirt. His tone carried a hint of pride. "I'm not that hungry." Yet his hand reached out for the lunchbox. Just then, a friend of his came out of the lab, the same one from the party, who recognized me immediately. "Hey, freshman," he drawled, strolling closer. "You brought Jason lunch?" "Oh, that's a shame. Didn't anyone tell you? Our Jason's got a picky mouth. He never eats campus food. His housekeeper has a private chef for him." I froze, holding the lunchbox awkwardly. "Oh, then I'll just..." The guy laughed and patted my shoulder. "No worries. If he won't eat, I will. I haven't had lunch anyway. Let me help you out." He reached for the box, but Jason frowned and pulled me behind him protectively. "Don't scare her," the guy smirked. Whoa. Who's scaring anyone? Didn't even raise my voice. I just wanted a bite of her food. Jason shot him a lazy glare. "Yeah, dream on." Then he kicked the guy square in the rear, muttering, "Buy your own damn food." I flinched behind him. He kicked that hard? Jason froze, then turned around. Flustered, none of his usual swagger remained. "Kidding. Just kidding, I wasn't fighting him. His butt doesn't hurt." The guy's face twitched, but he nodded in agreement. "Right, doesn't hurt a bit. You two eat. I've got things to do." He left, walking a little funny. As he passed me, he whispered, No need to thank me. That's when I realized he was helping me out. Hugging the lunchbox, I said hesitantly. Sorry, I didn't know you didn't eat cafeteria food. You can tell me what you like next time. Maybe skip today. I started to turn away, but Jason tugged lightly on my sleeve. His ears were red when he muttered, "Leave it. Don't listen to him. I like it." Before I could react, he'd already taken the lunchbox, opened it, and quietly started eating. It was just simple food, but Jason ate it so seriously, carefully, bite by bite, until the box was spotless. His short hair fell neatly across his brows, his lashes casting faint shadows over those striking eyes. Usually he looked so fierce, but right then, he was unexpectedly gentle. When he finished, he washed the lunchbox and handed it back to me. I took it with both hands. Jason adjusted the slipping strap of my shoulder bag, then shoved one hand in his pocket. Isabel. What is it? His gaze dipped, his tone feigning nonchalance. Tomorrow, are you coming again? I looked up at him, studying his face. Emotions flickered deep in those dark eyes. Maybe I stared too long, because Jason quickly looked away, uneasy. If you don't, that's fine too. He tried to look indifferent, but his voice was low and hesitant. I smiled, eyes curving. I'll come. Every day. Jason froze, eyes lighting up, though his hand at his side trembled almost imperceptibly. He pressed down a grin and said softly, "You'd better mean it." I smiled back. I do. Jason, such a softie when coaxed. Just like that, Jason and I made up. On my way back to the dorm, a friend request popped up. My heart skipped. It was Jason. I accepted instantly, too thrilled to wonder how he'd gotten my WeChat ID. Jason had added me. The next second, a huge money transfer came through. I panicked and hit refund, but within seconds another transfer landed in my Alipay. Buy whatever you like. Consider it payment for the lunch. I stared at the 5-digit amount in shock. Damn, filthy rich. I could practically picture his smug face saying that. From then on, I barged right into Jason's life. I'd sworn I wanted to be the one taking care of him, but somehow, it flipped. Everyone said Jason had a bad temper, and no patience for anyone. If Jason didn't like someone, no matter how hard they tried to please him, he wouldn't spare them a glance. But with me, he was endlessly patient. He was a clean freak. His desk in the club was always spotless. No one was allowed to touch his workstation. Yet on the second day I brought him lunch, there was suddenly a pink chair next to his seat. Small and delicate, it stood in stark contrast to his workbench. Jason had prepared it just for me, my chair. In the corner, he'd placed little cakes and snacks for me. While he assembled machinery, he'd quietly check the time and unwrap my dessert for me. Whenever I ate too much, he'd reach out and tap my forehead lightly. Don't eat too many, or you won't have room for dinner. The warmth from his palms spread through me, my cheeks burning, my heart racing helplessly fast. Worried he'd notice, I covered my forehead and whispered, "Got it, Jason! Stop tapping my head!" It makes my heart race. The rest of the words, I didn't dare say. Jason looked amused, smirking. "Oh? Don't want me to boss you around?" His gaze swept me up and down. "If you could eat properly and put on some weight, I wouldn't bother. Look at you so thin. The wind could knock you over." Jason always thought I was too skinny and tried every way to fix my picky eating. Around mealtimes, he'd ask if I was hungry. Even when I wasn't, he'd coax me into eating with excuses like, "Keep me company." His voice soft and low. It had started with me bringing him food, but somehow, our roles had flipped. Jason worried about me constantly. That's what amazed me most, his patience. I'd always been timid, too afraid to confess how I felt. But Jason treated me so kindly, remembered every habit I had, every small detail that mattered to me. He was attentive, and around him, I felt completely cared for. So I thought, maybe I was special to him too, but I'd never been in love before. In all my youth, Jason was the only one I'd ever liked. And liking someone, it comes with insecurity. I didn't dare say it. Didn't dare take a step closer. Should I break the tension between us, or play it safe and stay his friend? I couldn't figure out how Jason truly felt. I never realized that maybe, to him, I was a burden. One day, his professor called him away to discuss something, and I went back to the club studio to grab his stuff. Before I even reached the door, I heard voices inside, guys and girls talking. Freshmen aren't even allowed in this studio. So what's up with that Isabel girl always sticking to Jason? Yeah, what's their deal anyway? Jason's never let a girl near him before. Not only is she allowed in here, she's been hanging around for ages. Deal? What deal could there be? She's just a freshman clinging to him because they went to the same high school. Just another girl chasing Jason for his looks and money. No way. Right? I think Jason really looks after her. Maybe he likes her? Come on. No way. You remember how scary he was when we messed up the data? Jason's never that patient with anyone. A guy scoffed. Impossible. Jason himself said he hates good girls. That's her exactly. Yeah. No chance he likes her. They don't even match. He's probably just being polite since they're old classmates. If he actually liked her, they'd be together by now. Nothing's happened, so clearly not. And that girl, doesn't she get it? Clinging like that would annoy anyone. I didn't hear the rest. My mind went blank. I turned and stumbled away, heart in chaos. They were right. I'd been so caught up in my own feelings. I never thought about whether I was making things hard for Jason. He was busy working on new robot prototypes, yet still found time to look after me. And I, someone who'd only shared one semester of classes with him, had nearly started taking his kindness for granted. The more I thought about it, the worse I felt. Now that I knew, I couldn't keep bothering him like before. That night, I opened WeChat and typed, "I'm sorry, Jason. I won't come to your studio anymore. Sorry for disturbing you these days." After sending it, I didn't dare open our chat again. I was terrified of what his reply might say. Terrified it would crush me completely. I set our chat to do not disturb, then buried myself under the blanket. My thoughts churned until I couldn't sleep at all. By morning, I had dark circles under my eyes. My roommate gasped when she saw me and asked what happened, but I kept my head down and stayed silent. My phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered. Isabel. The familiar voice carried anger. Jason. I nearly dropped my phone, then quickly hung up. But he called again, and again, over and over. He sounded furious, desperate. I blocked the number. The next second, my roommate's phone rang. Jason had called her. She answered, and his voice came through, cold. "Tell Isabel to pick up the phone." I flinched, trembling. My roommate gave me a helpless look, and I muttered, "Tell him I'm not here." She relayed it. "Isabel says she's not here." The line went quiet. Then Jason laughed, angry and disbelieving. "Fine. She's got guts now." My heart cracked a little at the sound. I hated myself for being like this. Always the obedient one. Always listening to what others said. My whole life, I'd followed orders. Liking Jason was the one thing that wasn't planned. The one thing I couldn't control. His wildness, his freedom, it drew me in. It felt like he could break any rule just because he wanted to. He did things on his own terms. That kind of courage was something I'd never had. So when I decided to repeat a year, it was my first act of rebellion. My parents said my grades were good enough, that next year might be worse, but I kept my head down, flipping through pages of notes that proved how hard I'd worked. "No," I said firmly. "I can do better." I didn't slack off a single day that year. The morning I saw my acceptance letter, I stood by the window and cried loudly. For the first time in years, my sobs mixed with the hum of cicadas, carried away by the cool summer wind. The sunlight filtered slowly through the green leaves. Jason's university. It had taken me 2 years to reach his world. I was so overjoyed that I'd forgotten the distance between us, the mismatch I couldn't erase. Even the faintest hint of rejection made me want to run. Jason and I were now in a cold war, or rather, I was just hiding from him. Word was that Jason had been in a foul mood lately. He glared at everyone, and the whole lab had gone cold. Everyone walked on eggshells just to survive. 1 week, 2, 3. Then one night, as I returned to the dorm, I froze at the sight of a familiar figure standing by the gate. My heart began to race uncontrollably. Jason stood there, straight and still, holding a small, delicately wrapped cake. People passed by, casting curious looks his way. A light drizzle fell from the sky, dampening his hair, but he didn't seem to care. He simply shielded the cake carefully, waiting quietly, patiently. My chest ached sharply. Jason was always so proud, so brash. When had he ever looked like this? I called softly, "Jason." He lifted his head at the sound, and those dark eyes lit up. Under everyone's gaze, he walked toward me, step by step. His voice was rough and low. "Isabel, why have you been avoiding me? You won't answer my messages. You blocked my calls." There was anger in his tone, but when he finally stood before me, it faded. He raised his hand, holding it above my head to block the falling rain, a bitter smile tugging at his lips. "I missed you, Isabel. Are you doing okay?" Because I'm not. My heart clenched so hard it hurt, pounding in rhythm with my thoughts. My lips trembled. No, I wasn't okay either. I wanted to see Jason. I'd wanted to see him every single day. Jason watched me intently, brushed a strand of wet hair from my face, and spoke in a soft, nervous voice. "Can you stop hiding from me?" My nose stung, and my eyes blurred before I could even speak. The tears fell first. Jason froze, panic flashing across his face. He hurriedly wiped at my cheeks. "Hey, I'm not crying. Why are you?" "No, it's not." I couldn't finish a single sentence as tears kept spilling. Jason's eyes dimmed, his smile pained and hollow. He sighed softly, defeated. "All right, stop crying. I won't come find you anymore." He handed me a tissue, wiping my nose gently. "If you keep crying, your eyes will hurt again. I bought you a cake. Remember to eat it, okay?" He looked so lonely standing there. He handed me the cake and turned to leave. I grabbed his sleeve, meeting his eyes. "Jason, I don't want to avoid you. I came to this university to chase you." Jason froze, staring at me in disbelief, his voice trembling. "What did you just say?" I sniffled. "I want to chase you, but I was afraid it would bother you. So Jason's gaze locked on mine, his restraint cracking. Carefully, he hooked his pinky around mine. His voice came out rough, hoarse. "Why would you need to chase me?" His eyes reddened, like a hurt puppy's. "Just crook your finger and I'll come to you." This time, I was the one stunned. Jason, he liked me. Jason and I got together. The same Jason who once claimed to hate good girls turned out to be unbelievably clingy. If we didn't talk for an hour, my phone would blow up with voice messages. "Baby, what are you doing?" "Baby, just finished my shower." "Baby, wanna call?" "Baby, I bought you a pair of heels. Wear them for me next time, okay?" "Baby, there's a limited edition bag that would look perfect on you ordering it now." "Baby, talk to me." I finally learned why Jason had been so adamant before, warning me not to mess with him. Late at night, in Jason's villa, in the living room, before the mirror, his voice brushed against my ear between teasing kisses. "Baby, you didn't mean it back then, did you?" His fingers tightened, my voice trembled. I didn't know you liked me too. I was scared. Scared people would gossip and make trouble for you." Jason's breath was hot against my skin. The distance between us, non-existent. "So when they asked if you liked me, and you said there's no way you'd ever be interested, that was just talk. When you told them to stop spreading rumors and stop linking our names, what I heard at the stairs that day, It wasn't because you hated me, but because you didn't want me to get dragged into it. Sweat beaded on my forehead. I was too weak to speak, just shaking my head over and over. But Jason didn't let up, his grip tightening each time. Say it, baby. Answer me. Yes, it was nonsense. I didn't mean it. No wonder Jason hadn't wanted me near him. Back before the college entrance exams, he'd planned to confess, but at the stairwell, he overheard me saying those very words. When we met again at university, he was afraid I'd been joking, afraid I'd lose interest fast. So he forced himself to act cold. Baby. His voice dragged me back. Don't drift off. My knees went weak, body trembling. Jason bit gently at my shoulder, fingers entwined with mine to keep me from slipping. Be good. Just a little longer. In the mirror, our lips met in a breath, stealing kiss. I never imagined that one insecure sentence I said at 18 nearly cost us everything. 17. A clumsy crush, a heart pounding too fast, hidden in a photo that only captured your back. You were like the bright summer wind, while I was the tree with deep roots, growing quietly in the dirt. I pretended to be calm, but the wind still made my branches tremble again and again. Did you hear it? That's the sound of me, my clear burning love for you. The end. Epilogue. Jason's story. The lights in the room were harsh. Laughter and chatter filled the air. Jason slouched on the sofa, scrolling on his phone, surrounded by girls who wanted to talk to him but didn't dare. Everyone knew Jason hated parties like this. He almost never came. Yet this time, he'd been the first to arrive, more eager than anyone. But once there, he sat distant and cold, making no sense to anyone. Only his best friend knew why. Suddenly, the door burst open, and a girl with a messy bun was pushed inside. Fair skin, big round eyes, long dark lashes, there was a kind of innocent purity about her. Everyone thought the freshman looked sweet and harmless, and soon lost interest. Everyone, except Jason. His heart skipped several beats, a sharp sting blooming in his chest. Tingling warmth rippled through him, uncontrollably. His friend nearly kicked the table. Dude, that's her! The girl you've been crushing on. She's really here at your school. Go talk to her, man. Stop pretending. But the light in Jason's eyes dimmed. He forced himself not to look at Isabel, pretending to stay calm while repeating silently. Jason, get it together. She doesn't like you. His friend groaned. You baby that photo under your pillow like it's gold. It's falling apart from you touching it. And now she's right there. And you're doing nothing? Jason said nothing, taking a quiet sip of his drink. No one could tell, but the cocky Jason's palms were sweating so hard he was almost digging into them. Jason thought he must have gone insane. He knew the girl wasn't into him if he had any pride at all. He shouldn't even be here. Shouldn't be an eyesore in her world. But what could he do? He liked Isabel. He really, really liked her. Liked her so much that even hearing her name made him want to catch a glimpse. Just watching from afar was enough. He didn't dare hope for more. But then, that night, surrounded by the noise of laughter and chatter, Isabel blushed and walked right up to him. The room was loud, people teasing everywhere. But Jason heard her clearly, as if she were the only sound in the world. Jason, could I add you on social? His hand at his side clenched and unclenched, trembling. He'd meant to back away, but when she asked to add him, no matter the reason, he couldn't refuse. If the light dared to shine on him once more, he'd do anything to hold on to it.